I just turned 27, and here are 27 things that I learned so that you don't have to suffer like I did. If you're new here, my name is Dean. Welcome to my channel. I'm starting back on YouTube. You may have known me from my Instagram Reels, or if you're new here, welcome. But today I just wanted to make a video on the 27 things that I learned, in my earlier 20s that may be of help to y'all so that you don't have to suffer and go through what I've gone through. Okay. So yeah, let's go. I have a list here because I'm so unhinged. I'm like, am I gonna edit this? We'll see about that. Talk to my manager. Just kidding. But I just wanted to bestow some things and like go more into depth of like what I posted because it resonated with people. So I guess I should dive into the lessons and I guess how I learned them, but also like explaining more of what I mean. And if you like my video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, definitely subscribe to me. I would be grateful. And yeah, so let's get started. 27 things I learned. Oh, girl, this list, it took me a hot second to make because I think some of them just like hit too close to home. And like I was reading old journals and just goes to show like how much you can grow as a person in a short amount of, I guess, time. I don't know. Anyway, so number one, girl, stop flaking on plans. Stop flaking on plans. I'm being serious. Do not complain that you don't have friends or oh my God, like no one wants to be your friend. No one wants you around. No one invites you anywhere. Girl, are you flaking on plans? If you are, you literally can't say anything. Because for me, I spent so much time being like, oh my God, I have no friends. Like, no one invites me anywhere. But it's like, girl, every single time there was a plan, I canceled or like I flaked on it. And it's like, you flake enough time, people are not going to want to invite you places. And that's a tough lesson that I had to learn where it's like, you can bed route sometimes, but if you bed route 24/7, do not expect people to always, always, always stay. Because like, if you don't want to put in the effort to show up, sometimes people are not going to want you around because they're going to keep asking. It's like that whole thing where it's like, if you're too desperate for something, it's like, people are not going to want to feel desperate for you to show up somewhere. It's like you have to take action into showing up or else, yeah. So learn early in your 20s to stop clicking on things, especially the important people in your life. You will form close connections. Promise you that. You just got to show up. You just got to show up. All right. Say yes to more things. And that's not people pleasing before you come out of it. All right. Number two, because it's a long, long list. Number two, not me losing the list. I lost the whole list. Okay. Number two, apologies without any self-worth or change. It's manipulation. Period. That's it. Because it can go both ways. It's like when you apologize to someone, but you're not changing your behavior, kind of goes back to the first point, actually, where it's like, if you constantly say, sorry, I can't make it, sorry, this, yada, yada, but you're not changing your behavior. You're not changing the way you're reacting to or acting in the situation, is you're just manipulating the other person, like making them believe that you'll show up next time or making like them feel like you might show up, as long as you apologize. But it's like all that shit does is like it appeases your ego and it really does nothing if you're not changing. And like same goes with like, think about it, toxic relationships, like they constantly apologize, but then the abuse is still there. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like if they're not changing that behavior, it's manipulation, it's gaslighting. And the more you allow that to happen, the harder it is for you to leave. Because once you've been trained, I guess, like gaslit and like manipulated enough times, you start to think that's normal. It's not, promise. Number three, this one kind of hit close to home because I think I spent a lot of time writing people off. And the third one is learning that good people will stay. I promise you, good people will stay. You cannot take your past heartbreak, past friends who treated you badly to make you have a harsh view of the world or like impose that projection of like the people who used to hurt you onto the new people, because then you'll never form the friendship and relationships that you need. And so you literally have to force yourself into thinking that good people will come into your life and then good people that are existing in your life will stay. And if not, you're going to be living off this like scarcity mindset where it's like you think good people, they're always going to leave, or like people are always going to leave your life. You're going to live it in this like way where it's like you have to control everything, and people can feel that, you know, when you're not being yourself, you're trying to keep them like held down in a way where it's like not natural. Rather than just relaxing, being yourself, being cringe, and allowing other people to stay. Because sometimes when we force people to stay and like we don't believe that people will stay, so we like do things to force them to stay, we manipulate them to stay, it's like it makes people actually go further away. So that's something I had to learn too. And like my recent past few years of like friendships really proved to me that good people will stay, and will be forever grateful. And it's because I allowed people to show me and prove to me that the past people who did me wrong, that wasn't everyone. And that can be for you too. It's like all the things that you went through, it may not be the case for the people that you meet. So long as you're also working on yourself and you're not attracting that type of behavior. Um, but that's the whole whirlwind. Let people prove you wrong, is what I'm trying to say. Let people prove your negative core beliefs wrong. Number 4. Ooh, this one, when you're afraid of what other people are thinking about you, it's actually what you think about yourself. Yeah. That took me a while to learn because I used to be that person where it's like, oh my God, what if they think this? What if they think that? Like, what if XYZ happens? Or like, these people think this of me. All the time, I was just trying to like, my ego was just projecting. And it was like, that's how I felt about myself. Because I used to be like, oh my God, like, what if everyone, hates me? Girl, I didn't like myself that much. That's why. That's why I thought everyone might hate me. And so really you got to look like internally. When you're not good with yourself, the external world may seem like everything's against you because you're filtering your world through that reality. Oh my God, sorry, I had to burp. And the faster you learn that what you're projecting onto other people is actually what you think about yourself. It's like the same thing where it's like when people lash out, it's their own realities reflected back to you. See that with all the people around you. It's like if you're around people who, people, that you really love and like that you have no actually like problems with or ever got into a fight with, and you're like, do they hate me, etc. Whatever. Girl, look introspectively. No one is. Because I've asked, unless you did something like really bad, then, But I've asked people, I'm like, when I was thinking this, like, did you actually think this of me? And people in my life were like, girl, no, we did not think that of you. I think you were just like thinking that at the time because you were going through stuff. And this is not gaslighting in terms of that, because I asked them, I actually asked for the feedback. But sometimes it does scare us because we want validation. That's what society lives off of, like us needing that gratification from people. But that can get into a downfall when we're not okay with ourselves, that we think that everyone else is not okay with us either, when really we have to nurture what's in here before anything out there can feel like it's nurturing. Yeah. Number 5, if you don't like something about your life, figure out how to change it. Oh my God, this one. That's why I'm literally returning to YouTube right now. And I really had to like discipline myself, and also making content on like Instagram, whatever. And it proved to be right, because if I didn't like post consistently on Instagram, like I wouldn't have ever gotten a platform, if that makes sense. But what this point is trying to say is that like, if you constantly find yourself like complaining about something, or like saying this part of my life is not good, that part, and you're not doing anything about it, girl, you're choosing it. What you're changing is that what you're not changing is what you're choosing. And like, that was one of the hardest pills also I had to swallow, because like sometimes when you think that like things are not like working out and all you can do is like complain about it, and it's like, I'm not saying it's not okay to vent, it's great, but then when you're constantly talking and complaining about the same thing, it'll be what you're like living, because you're spending so much time complaining about it that you're not saving any time for yourself to change it. And so that's also an issue. All right. Alrighty. Next one. I'm like blazing through these because I have like 27 of them. If you can tell, I'm like trying to look at my phone. Number 6. It's okay to take a break and hit a wall. girly pop. It really is. It's okay to have creative block. It's okay to be stunted sometimes and like feel like you've hit this like, oh my God, where you can't move forward. Good. Because that means, girl, you probably need the rest. Because don't tell me you weren't up at 3 in the morning scrolling. All right. Sometimes you need to hit that wall and take a rest, because sometimes walls are there for us. That block is there for us to lean on and for us to rest, because you deserve the rest. If you're not well rested, you can't be creative. You can't do and be the best that you can. So take those periods of rest with grace, and give yourself some grace, because you worked so hard that like you need to give yourself a break sometimes, or else you're going to literally burn yourself out. And then you're going to actually be further away from your dreams than if you hadn't leaned on that wall. Next one. Oh God, this one. Oh God, for all my bed rotting girly pops, I understand. Okay, I really understand. I'm like, I feel this to my soul, because I definitely do understand. Let me move this a little bit. I definitely do understand where it's like, girl, because I bed rotted a lot. You will not expect to find love when you least expect it. You won't find love when you least expect it if you're not doing anything about it. That's basically what I was trying to say, where it's like, girl, if you constantly focus on, oh my God, saying like, everyone's bad, I'm gonna just forego love and not do anything about it, and love will find me when I least expect it. Girl, that's an excuse. That is an excuse, truly. It is truly an excuse, because you will find love if you're actually doing something and going out to make connections. And then when you least expect it, someone right might come along. But you can't expect love to come along if you're bed rotting 24/7 hours a day, not going outside, isolating yourself from the world, girl. How's that supposed to happen? Explain. Exactly. I had to really look at myself in the mirror, like face to face, being like, girl, but you can't just expect something from nothing. So like go out and make those connections. Like figure out who you want in your life, what you want. And then like you might meet someone at a coffee shop. You might meet someone accidentally like honking at them on Third and Fairfax. I don't know. Something. I've heard crazier stories, okay? And so stop using that as an excuse. Number 8. Oh, this one needs no explanation. Always be yourself and the right people will stay. Because if you're not yourself, like you're going to be attracting the wrong people that don't align with you. And that's why you may find yourself in a very unhappy place. Because if the people in your life that you surround yourself with are not making you feel good in here and just externally when you're partying, etc., like they're not your people. I'm sorry. They're just not. They're going to be the type of people who are jealous of your success, won't support your success, will find you cringe and make you like, they'll hold you back from what you want to do, and like won't support whatever dreams you have for yourself, because you weren't yourself and you attracted the wrong crowd of people who were attracted to the person that you presented to be. And then why are you surprised that they're acting a certain way now that you decided to be yourself? So always be yourself regardless of any situation you're in. And if you don't like the version of yourself, then change it. Like I said earlier, change it if you don't like it. I'm a big proponent of that, because it's like at some point I can give like the most advice, but I know that when I was in that place and hearing this, I would probably be like, F you. But it's like, girl, if you really want that change, you'll make that change, because you're going to have to. It's like people can tell you 100 million times, but you're not going to unless you really want to. Number 9. Unconditionally loving someone doesn't mean unconditionally tolerating mistreatment. And what I mean by this is like kind of the cliche saying where people are like, oh, you get what you tolerate. Ooh, that was another like harsh lesson that I had to learn in my early 20s, where it's like, I used to love people so much, even if they were like breaking me and stuff, because I thought that unconditional love meant like fixing people and like tolerating any abuse they had. They're lashing out, they're yelling, they're whatever, their mistreatment. That's not the case. You can still be a loving person while also having boundaries. It'll actually make you a more lovable person. If you have boundaries, if you're kind to yourself, you will still be a loving and being able to love other people without tolerating mistreatment, because you have to have that sense of decency, not only for other people, but also yourself first, so that you can show that decency. Because if you're not okay with yourself, you're definitely not going to be okay with other people. Promise you that. Because, yeah, the amount of therapy bills that I had to pay, girl, to learn that. And number 10, I think this one, there's a catch-22 to it because you don't want to people to walk all over you. But let me just say it first. Be kind, stay soft. Don't let insecurities of other people and the harshness of the world turn you into a version of yourself that you don't even like. And what I mean by that is I think that like a lot of times, like if you've went through something, you have PTSD, you have trauma, you have childhood trauma, whatever, like people have done you dirty in the past, you start to get cold and like you don't want to feel your feelings. And then like you treat everyone like the past people have treated you, and you start becoming unkind and you form into this version of yourself that you can't even recognize when you look at yourself when you wake up. Yeah, I had to learn that I had to remain soft, remain kind. And that was the strength. Being kind and staying soft, that was the strength. Because going through all of these things and you're still able to show up and exude all this kindness and love, you're going to get that back in tenfold. Because if you allow the world harshness to make you into something else, you're also going to allow the world to mold you into the most insecure version of yourself. Because if you can mold yourself that much to change from being kind to harsh, like the world can convince you to do anything. And there was a moment in my life because I was bullied as a kid. I became that person that, wanted to kind of have control and feel nothing and also be the mean one because I wanted a taste of it. Girl, I turned into a version of myself that I didn't even like. And I had to reflect on why I was so unhappy and why I was so unhappy with the people that I let into my life, because I let go of being soft, let go of being kind. But I think that's the truest strength of, form of strength. And yeah, number 11, girl, stop wasting your energy on people who are committed to misunderstanding you more than they're committed to you and that friendship or relationship. No amount of arguing, no amount of love, no amount of anything in this world, gifts, whatever, can change that. Like no amount of anything will change someone's commitment to misunderstand you. So that argument, it's over. Leave. There's nothing to be argued, because when people are committed to misunderstanding you, it'll always go through that filter. Whatever you say, it'll go in the opposite direction. So that's something that I think I spent a lot of times where constantly like being in arguments with people or like staying in drama, but that person will always misunderstand me, even if I did something good, even if it isn't bad, even if I try to make amends. And so people who misunderstand you, cut them out of your life, because you'll be significantly happier. Just leave, girl. And it kind of leads to the next one, where sometimes you're comfortable with what people give you, and like that type of feeling of, oh, like I feel like the spark with this person, or like I feel very comfortable around this like situation. And the only reason why you may be comfortable in that situation is because you're used to that like chaos growing up, and you just like want to relive that chaos for a different result, expecting a different result, because you want to be proven that if you go through that, a different result can be had. It's like you're trying to do what? A scientific experiment? No, babe. You have to learn how to unlove people. Learn how to unlove people and do it fast. Do it fast, girl. All of these lessons, do it earlier so you don't have to be later on in your 20s where you've missed a few years or spent years like not nourishing true, meaningful relationships and friendships because of all these like roadblocks that, I feel like I had to pay so much therapy for to deal with and finally get through. That's why I'm making this video. And hopefully it's helping you. But yeah, not me getting tired because I'm like emotionally tired. But no, I have to get through these lessons. Number 13, oh girl, I learned this lesson from an episode of actually, not embarrassing, Wizards of Waverly Place. The mom, if you watch Wizards of Waverly Place, you know exactly the episode when Alex gets her heart broken. But this one I kind of like, I reworded it a little bit, but basically it's the same thing, where every heartbreak just means you're closer to the person that you're meant to be with. And this applies to friendships, relationships, because just think about it. Number one, every single time you get your heart broken, you get hotter, okay? That's the fact. I made a reel about this one. But also every single heartbreak in terms of friendship, relationships, you just get a little bit stronger and you learn the way that you deserve to be loved. Because every person that mistreated you will lead you to the person that should treat you correctly. So long as you're working on yourself, so long as you are figuring out the ways that, you are attracting the bad type of people. And if you're working on attracting the right people, then every single thing, if it doesn't belong to you and they can be taken, let them be taken. Poof, girl. Poof. Poof on to the next one. Oh, this one. I miss my sister. Number 14. If you have siblings, call them. Text them. I think if you don't have a sibling and you're an only child, I kind of feel bad for only children, because I don't even know how my childhood would have been without my sister, because yes, we have the bickering up and down, but your parents will go, a lot of your family will go, but your siblings, if they're still here, make sure to hold them closer and form that bond you have with them, because siblings are forever. And I think there's no bond kind of like that. And I just really love my sister a lot. And yeah. So keep them close, call them, text them, even if it's a meme, I don't care. Stay connected to them. I'm 4,000 miles away from my sister. She's back in New York, but I feel closer to her still. I text her every day, and I wouldn't have been any other way. Yeah. And next one, kind of also, all of these tie back together. Basically, learn them all or take some. I don't care. But 15, working and being busy and hustling your entire personality is embarrassing. Stop it. It's not cute. It's not a flex. Working 60 hours a week. Girl, are you okay? I used to be like that. And that's why I had to learn this lesson the hard way. You got to unlearn that shit real fucking quick, because I didn't learn it quick. And I prioritized hustling and being busy all the time, neglecting my friendships, neglecting the dating scene. And I missed both my grandpa's funerals, and I regret it to this day. So don't be like me. Prioritize before you regret it later on, and you can't get it back. Because right now I still feel that regret inside of me, but I can't change it because it's what I chose in the past. And I'm not saying I'm not grateful that I learned from it, but part of me always wishes that I wasn't so stubborn and being busy and making that my whole personality. And I wish someone was talking to me here I am talking to you right now, where it's girl, prioritize. Get a hold of your calendar, make the right priorities, or else those priorities will have you eat you alive. Oh, not me getting sentimental. No, I'm always sentimental. You know me. It's Dean Core. Number 16, people don't run away from you because you're unlovable. Sometimes people run away from you because they got to do so much work in order to be with the version of you now. Yeah. It goes for relationship, friendship, whatever, but friendships that, when people get mad or kind of distance themselves, run away from you, yada, yada, kind of metaphor. When you change or become a more elevated version of yourself, or a more healed version of yourself, a more strong version of yourself, sometimes people are afraid of that because it no longer either benefits them, or the better version of yourself, they would have to work on themselves in order to be around you and your aura and your vibe and your energy. And so they always want to bring you back to where you used to be. And so don't ever take it personally. It doesn't make you any more unlovable when people want to run away from you, because maybe sometimes it's not the fact that you're unlovable or unworthy. Maybe it's the fact that they just don't want to do the work and nothing to do with you. Again, not delusion, mindset. Number 17, 10 more to go after this one. Stop letting what you eat or your weight determine how worthy you feel. You literally cannot shame yourself into loving yourself. Girl, as a formerly chubby kid who had seen the worst of humanity, was bullied and then losing weight, I can tell you right now, you gotta stop it. You gotta stop it right now, because I repeated that story to myself and I felt that the way I looked was how lovable I was. And I've spent so many years hating myself that I wish I could get back. So many thoughts, so many days wasting time trying to look perfect, be perfect. And for what? For literally what? on your gravestone, are you going to be like, oh my God, imagine how embarrassing it would be if like Dean spent his whole life feeling unworthy and lived off the validation of other people. And that's how I kind of honestly use like therapy to like kind of get through some of my stuff, because I like think of it in a way where it's like, how embarrassing would it be, you know, to have like someone who hated themselves on your tombstone. Girl, get rid of that mindset immediately. And like, it's a work in progress. I'm not saying all of this is overnight, because it took me almost a decade in therapy to kind of figure this out. And it like, it took a couple years to kind of get that ingrained to actually start working on it. So don't give up on yourself. Okay. Don't give up on yourself just yet. Like, therapy works, because not only did it take like a few years, it finally took a few years now that my thoughts like immediately I would say 80 to 20%, it's easier to like shift it when it's like becomes like negative, or like I start perceiving it. It's like easy for me to go from the shift where it's like, actually, maybe no. Maybe right now it's like, I feel like other people are talking about me, because right now I'm feeling very chaotic in my life. So I have to revert back to the world is against me in order to feel better. And yeah, going on a tangent, can you tell I have ADHD? But yeah, don't let what you eat or what the world is trying to tell you to determine how you feel, because there are $1 billion industries that are crumbling because people are starting to feel more secure. And so don't let, those industries win, because imagine if everyone was secure, like people would be going out of business. Cosmetics, beauty, whatever, all of that. And we're 18. It kind of, well, wow. Love how these tie together kind of. Stop trying to look rich, okay? Stop spending your money. Stop trying to look rich. Stop trying to spend your money on things that you don't need, trying to impress people that you don't even like. Literally, it's like, okay, if I could get $1 for every time I heard people like spending money on things that they didn't even need just to impress other people, but they were like financially struggling, girl, I would probably be a lot richer. But goes to say, like, I know people who live in their cars instead of like having a place, because they would rather look rich than appear to other people as poor, which is like, girl, I understand the whole thing of like manifesting a richer life, but that doesn't mean putting yourself in a really bad situation because you want other people to like you. Because if people only like you for how rich you are or how rich you look, like, girl, they're not your people, and they will not be your people. Yeah. Because what if something goes wrong? You lose all of that when you actually do make it and you actually have the funds. What if you lose all of that and you don't look rich anymore? You're gonna get rid of all those people who are all in your life or like there for you, who are love you, because you started all those relationships off of them being attracted to you because you were exuding this aesthetic of looking rich. And it's like, girl, is your life rich? Focus on that. The only reason why I was able to afford buying a home when I was 27 is because I realized not early enough to stop trying to look rich. Girl, I have this sweatshirt, Ross, this tank top, Hanes. Like, you don't gotta look rich to have a rich life and be happy. Number 19. Oh, this is a sentimental one. Remember the little things about people and take pictures. I don't care. People can make fun of you and let people judge you in public, but take pictures with your friends. Send them something that reminds you of them. Send them a meme. Tell people you love them while they're still here, because we all know, like, the celebrities, like the world, you see like people passing away and then people suddenly like all like huddling around them. Like, you could have told them this when they were still here. And so hold the people that you love near and dear to your heart, and hold yourself near and dear to your heart. While you're still here, make sure you love you, but also make sure the people around you, life is unpredictable. Tell them that you love them, because I would pay an absurd amount of money to tell my grandparents that I wish I could be there for their funeral and that I love them, but I couldn't because I didn't say it when they were here. And I hustled instead of trying to go see them and be there while they were sick. And that should be the embarrassing thing. That should be the thing that, should be more looked down upon versus, someone who focuses on family or their loved ones more than their work. All right. So if you're thinking about someone right now you have in mind, pause this video, subscribe. I'm just kidding. Not me doing the CTAs, girl. No, but text them. Text them. Text them. Send them a meme. Send them this video. Tell them you're thinking about them right now. If you have someone in mind that you realize you haven't checked in on because you just were reminded of it in this moment, tell them. All right. Number 20. Ooh, this is one that I learned in like a couple years ago that kind of helped me a little bit. Stop trying to look for your other half. Stop it right now. Stop that shit right now. Girl, stop. Why are you trying to look for people to fill in the gaps in your life? No, you are whole yourself, right? I need you to, I'm gonna look at you in the eye right now. You need to believe that you are complete yourself, because no one in this world, nothing materialistic will complete you. Nothing. People in this life merely compliment you. Your family compliment you. Your friends compliment you. Your relationships compliment you. The people you surround yourself with, who you surround yourself with, they all add on to your enoughness and your wholeness and your completeness. Because if you're walking around half of yourself looking for the other half, you're always going to feel this sense of emptiness, and you're going to go seek out the wrong people to try to fill that void if you don't feel complete with yourself. All right. And sometimes we may feel like we're half a person and we need to find the other person to complete us, when really we got to like explore why we're feeling this way, that we need someone else to come in to save us. When sometimes all we really need is to be working on the things that we haven't dealt with. Hug that inner child from years ago, because we haven't dealt with the past. So someone told me one time, your past is going to last if you don't deal with it. So yeah. Number 21. This one I'm not even going to explain. I'm just going to say it and move on to the next one. If you stay around people who aren't good for you, you'll continue to pay the price, even when you're unaware of it. Yeah. People you surround yourself with, they become your reality. So you're going to be with all their disadvantages, even if they're not around, because you have allowed the wrong people to stay around. And the toxic people, they will affect you, because what happens when you have a rotten fruit next to another rotten fruit? It rots that fruit, and then so on. So if you surround yourself with a whole bunch of rotten fruit, you will become it. Promise you that. I've done my fair share of doing that. Number 22. I think y'all will be able to relate to this one, but find people whose presence don't make you feel alone in a room full of people. And this took me the longest time to learn, because I used to think that having a million friends was the most important thing, and being in a room full of people would be the most important thing to make me feel less lonely. But then what I didn't realize was like, girl, not me using also other coping skills like drinking, so I didn't feel alone in those full rooms. But when I was in those full rooms, even sober and stuff, like I felt more alone than when I was just with people, a few couple people that I loved, or by myself. And so when that happens, number one, that's to leave, but also really take tally. And I'm not saying be very calculated with your relationships, but I'm like, keep tally of like the people that when you're around them, how they make you feel. And people who don't make you feel lonely, those are the people to hold close. People who make you feel like you want to be with them versus being alone, then you found your people. Because if you could be yourself around someone, and let's say I had a Friendsgiving that I hosted recently with a friend that I hold near and dear to my heart, like around those type of people, I didn't feel one moment that I was alone or lonely. And I knew in that moment, damn, there are good people, you know? Next one. Again, laugh. Number 23. This one, all of these tie together. Laugh. Laugh so much, girl. I want you to smile more. I need you to laugh more, because I forgot how much I forgot how to laugh, or like how much I loved laughing, because I was so used to making myself miserable. I was so used to playing the victim. I was so used to saying and repeating and complaining and not changing things about like the world being against me, that I was so miserable, because I was so comfortable with being miserable that laughter was so foreign to me that I lost it completely. And it was only until a friend told me, it's like, oh, you lost the way you used to laugh. You lost the way that you used to smile. Like, what changed? And that like was an epiphany moment for me, because I was like, well, like, damn, I really let the world make me miserable. And once I started laughing more, doing things that made me laugh more, even if it was alone at first, my life immediately started to attract more people that would make me laugh, make me feel more whole. And that's why I think I also make a lot of my videos and stuff to make people feel less alone, but also give that people that laughter that can kind of encourage the positive neural pathways that will encourage change and encourage people to want to do things with grace and to do things that will further their self-improvement journey or their journey to bettering themselves, you know? Number 24. Ooh, when people lash out at you, walk away, girl. Feel bad for them and walk away. They're just projecting. And this book I read this from was from The Four Agreements. Y'all probably have heard of it by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'll link it down below or I'll put it in the wherever. This book changed my life a lot. And I think this lesson people could learn as early as their teens because I think it's so important to realize that sometimes when people are screaming at you and it was such a small situation, they're lashing out at a situation that they didn't deal with. And it's going to constantly come out as anger for them because they've pent it up. So it has nothing to do with your enoughness, your worthiness, whatever. And you just got to leave because if you get angry and you're harboring that resent and like that grudge from a situation that they were projecting onto you that had nothing to do with you, you're just being affected by it and you had nothing to do with it. So leave. Leave when people are projecting, you know? And I'm not saying that's when like you have to do work with a partner that's like a mutual thing that you both need to work on. I'm just saying like when people just lash at you for no reason and you're like, what? Because you know who I'm talking about. And I used to be one of those people until I realized I was projecting. Oop. Sometimes you gotta, you gotta fess up to your own mistakes, which I had to. Yeah, number 25. Wow. Your thoughts. I'm like getting shook, but I wrote these, so whatever. Your thought and the words you speak to yourself are a womb. It will birth your reality, literally. Who you surround yourself, how you talk to yourself, whatever you do, it's gonna become who you surround yourself with. Because if you're constantly negative, like I remember this one distinct thing that I kept on telling myself that I'm unlovable and people will not love me if I'm in a bigger body. And I kept on telling myself that. And I kept on believing that. And I kept on repeating that it literally became my reality. I started surrounding myself with people who only liked me for the way I looked. People who only were in, like, who couldn't love me in the way I deserved to be loved. And like that whole cliche saying from like Perks of Being a Wallflower, like you get the love you think you deserve. Yeah, that's basically this thing. In like a more like simpler term, I guess. It's like the way that you think about yourself, the way that whatever you do and you speak to yourself. And that brings me to my sub point to this lesson is like speak to yourself like a child and someone you love. Because the way you speak to yourself, it's like a, what do you call it? A ripple. It's like a time ripple. It's like if you go back in time, you change something, it's gonna ripple. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with this, where it's like everything up here, everything you surround, listen to, boom, that child that from the womb, that's your reality. If you don't change it, you're gonna be stuck in it. And that's a scary thing to do, being Nandi and realize that you spent your whole life like telling yourself you hated yourself. Girl, embarrassing shit. That's why. Again, I love saying embarrassing because I'm like, it encourages me in some type of way, girly pop, to kind of want to change. 26. Ooh, this one, yeah, I think is a more, if you could get to this one earlier on too, it's like kudos to you because it took me the past 3 years to kind of get into this one, but like revenge isn't sweet. The funny petty things like you and your best friend gossip about, which is not really gossiping because I joke about this. Like sometimes teeing is fun, like one-on-one, as long as it's not like malicious, it's fine because I think it's healthy. But the like malicious, like true grudge holding, like revenge is not sweet. Because not only are you poisoning your soul, but you're also holding on to other people who are not even thinking about you. Like, let the revenge be that them losing you. Let revenge be them never getting to speak to you again. Let their revenge be that they are so incapable of love. How could they love you? You know, it's like, let their revenge just be themselves. Like, rotten fruit falls by themselves, all right? Like, just let let people be themselves. Revenge is just going to have you holding on to the past for dear life and not make room for new experiences, new people, and the things that you deserve and your dreams, you know? And sometimes when you're reaching a point of stagnantness, I don't even know if that's a word. English is made up, so I'm going to make it a word. Stagnantness, like, it may be because you're holding on to something and you're not allowing for room up here to allow it to come up. Number 27. This one is going to tie all this up as like kind of a bow. But stay a child at heart. And here's the baby picture of me, just so, you know, or here. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on the screen. But I posted this Instagram post with all these lessons. I just, you know, did this video to kind of explain, but there's a baby picture of me there as well. And I just want to say, like, stay a child at heart. Find people who you can be a child at heart with. Find people who you can be embarrassing and cringe around, because as long as you feel free, it's not cringe. It's not cringe at all, I promise you. And even if it is, I'll use that term in the best way possible. As long as you could be cringe around your best friend, you found your best friend. You could be cringe around your lover, whoever you think that is good for you entering your life. Those are the people to hold close. It's not that spark, that fiery relationship, that like bad energy that makes you feel alive and that rush. Girl, no, it's peace. When you feel peace around people, and I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this enough. When you feel peace around people, that's when you know you found people that are great for you. When you can communicate with no words, when you can communicate by just looking at each other in the eyes, you can communicate with just an action. And I think sometimes silence is the best way to see how comfortable you are with someone. Because if you can go a car ride, right? I can go to a car ride sometimes with my best friends or people that I love without saying a single word. But that doesn't make me feel any unloved, or that doesn't make me feel like they're mad at me. Because they're not. When their silence feels like peace, their silence feels like comfort, and their silence doesn't make you question how much they love you, then you found your people. And I think harbor that feeling of peace. And peace can be different for everyone, you know? And I'm just saying these are all for me. And like, that's why, to conclude this video, take the lessons you learned from this video. Hopefully at least one resonated with you and that can help you. Take whichever ones that help you, because they're more personal to me, I guess. Take all of them if you want to. Take none. But I just hope that some of these like lessons, like, you can shape it to your own way and like take it and run with it, because you deserve all the best, girly pop. And I'm really grateful for you for being here. And I'm grateful for getting to 27, because girl, apparently the frontal lobe stops developing. So we'll see about that. Scary. But if you like this video, definitely give me a thumbs up if you learned anything. And let me know in the comments down below which ones you really resonated with, and if I should make either more videos about this or what you want to see from me, because he's back. He's back, girlies. World bestie. He's back. Onto the YouTubes. But I've been rambling for so long that, girl, I'm about to inhale 20 cough drops because my voice is raspy. But yeah, okay. Love you, and I'll speak to y'all soon. Hope you have a great rest of your year. And hopefully you're already, you know, writing those and living in those resolutions that you have for 2025. Because don't just make them for 2025. Start them now. Stop using motivation to do what you want to do. Just do it. Feelings are fleeting, okay? Discipline, honey. Discipline. And don't complain about it. Stop choosing the bad things for you, all right? Okay, love you. Bye.